Hey y'all, it's the Slav. Welcome back to my table. Just dropping a video here about my progress with La Bataille de Kulm. I am finished about a turn and a half right now, basically. I am getting ready to start the coalition segment of the 11:20 a.m. turn, which is the second game turn. So I'm getting ready to start the second half of that turn. Get you up to date on what's been going on. I'll just start from the top of the French line, go down, and then hit the coalition side, which at this point is just Russians. At the start, we had two artillery batteries in these hexes, and then the French 5th Division was deployed behind those artillery batteries. What I had them do is the French line advanced down the hill and moved alongside the stream where they came in contact with the Russian Jaegers, which had been moved forward from their positions and deployed into skirmish formation. So right now I have French line against Russian skirmishers, exchanged some desultory sort of fire here. The only result was one French regiment had taken one increment loss, and they're holding in place there. I'd considered doing melee, but my fires were done so that these two regiments hit that flank skirmisher, and these two regiments hit that flank skirmisher. The way I'm reading the rules, if you melee, you have to melee the units that you fired at. I did that because that obviously gave me more firepower against targets, but imagining what might happen as a result of melee, best case scenario, these two Jaegers would have to retreat, and then I'd advance into these two hexes. You'd have one very lonely skirmisher here, but because the skirmishers have 4 frontal hex sides and the line infantry units have 2 flank, obviously, I'd have 2 stacks of French units that would be taking flank fire from that skirmisher. So it may die, but it would be putting some fire into their flanks. So I think I'm just going to keep everything here, hold fast, maybe trade some fire. I might actually just have those Russian Jaegers retreat. But I see that I have some Russian hussars that I've deployed in a skirmish formation here. And in their turn coming up, they could actually advance and then hit this French regiment, or battalion rather, in the flank. I decided I would kind of turn these guys in, figuring that they would advance and surround the skirmishers. But I think all I did in this case was expose the flank. So we'll see what happens there. These are the 3 French light battalions that were part of the avant-garde or advanced guard. After they finished their road march, I moved them up here. They deployed into skirmish. They're holding basically the center of the line. Down here, we had French cavalry that was coming on, chasseurs and lancers. I deployed the chasseurs into skirmish formation, and they were my thought was they were screening the advance of the lancers. The lancers have now gotten onto this hill, and I'm in the midst of trying to get them all formed up in a nice line. Over on the Russian side, basically just lots of advancing. Everybody's in column. We've got some artillery here, command staff up here. There's a couple of hussars over here on this flank. And then over here, we've got some infantry. And here we've got the 3rd and 4th Infantry Divisions. They are advancing in column. I did take their artillery and unlimber them along this stream, just in case something might have happened. I might have had some cavalry advance a little faster and present a target. Most of the action taking place down here. This is Russian light cavalry, hussars, and then cuirassiers, heavy cavalry. They are also advancing in column. 2 batteries of horse artillery did advance, and they unlimbered along this stream. They actually did take a pot shot, both of these batteries, at the flank of the chasseur skirmishers on that hilltop. Didn't get any result from that, no effect. So this is where I am with Kulm. I'm having fun with this. I do like these premier roles. The I go, you go lets me kind of concentrate on the other more complicated aspects of the deployment and marching and combat of these units. So I'm going to stick with this. Had a few questions pop up. Looks like some stuff got missed maybe in trying to cram these roles into a magazine format, because I did have to go to the full Premier role set online at the Marshall Enterprises website, and that actually did answer a couple questions. For instance, I saw nothing after a couple, 2, 3 very careful rereads of both the facing and movement rules. I see nothing in these rules that said you had to move into frontal hexes or giving any kind of movement point costs for changing facing, like facing was even required. There were very specific rules about facing's effects on combat, melee, fire combat, firing, taking fire, taking charge, but nothing about movement. So I looked at the Marshall Enterprises, the premier rules on their website, and they did confirm that you must move into forward or frontal hexes, and it laid out movement point costs to change facing in a hex. However, even there, on the full premier rules on the Marshall website, it says, if I remember correctly, that infantry and limbered artillery pay 1 movement point to change facing. Unlimbered artillery may either prolong 1 hex or change facing in a hex. But then it says, and I don't know if this is a typo, cavalry spends 3 movement points to change formation. But it says this in facing rules. So is that a simple typo and they meant to say facing instead of formation? Because coincidentally enough, it does cost cavalry 3 movement points to change formation in the system. So I'm not sure whether that was a simple typo or something got transposed. So in the meantime, I am playing that it costs cavalry 3 movement points to change facing. I can understand that. It's going to probably take a lot more movement potential, energy, and so forth to change direction on a whole big bunch of big horses than it is a bunch of men marching. But I would really probably get confirmation on that. So if there's any La Bataille grogs out here, Premier grogs, let me know if that is correct, what I found on the full Premier Rules website, as opposed to what was missing apparently in the game rules here for La Bataille de Kulm. Also, in the meantime, since my last video, I did buy the Kickstarter Extras kit for this game. Reading back in the folder on Consim World for this game, there was a posting that the folks who got who backed this as a Kickstarter, got all those extras, they had leftover components available, and they put them together as separate kits. And I think this post was probably made sometime back last fall. And surprisingly enough, I contacted ATO, and they did confirm that those were still available, and I got one. So the most utilitarian stuff for this game aspect is it does give you an extra half sheet of markers. So now I don't have to worry about running out of any particular strength point markers, morale markers, fatigue markers, etc. And it did also give an extra set of the fire and melee results tables and the player aid cards. So if you're like me and oftentimes like to spread everything out in a manner that you don't have to go flipping charts over back and forth on the table, I now have everything laid out on the table so I can see it and not have to worry about flipping cards over to get it information I need. So that was neat. And it also came with a set of cards. We've got some cards here. They're not anything card driven per se. They're just some tactics cards, sort of event cards. I haven't actually read the rules to this. They've got a 1 page, actually it's more like a 1 column of rules on how to use these. Nothing major, but you know, everything, to paraphrase Mugatu from Zoolander, those cards are so hot right now. Everybody's putting cards in games, even if they're not card driven. So far ways down the road yet for me to get into these things, as I'm still coming to grips with the basics, but thought that was a neat little touch to add. It also included a 4 card set of those pocket battle games that cover the entire Leipzig battle, as well as die cut counters for that, and some extra variant rules for that game. And it also included a neat little 8.5 by 11 card map game about the 1814 campaign in France. So look forward to digging that out sometime. Take a look at that. But for now, I am going to stick around with this. I will probably post another video or 2 of this as time goes on, and some other events as well. I did also finally get my last game in a delayed manner for my birthday game haul. And see if I can get this in my kind of restricted field of view here. It was GMT's Purgatorio. If I try to do this now and move this, I am going to knock my camera over. But trust me, this is GMT's Purgatorio. It finally came. I placed my order a day before they were going to cut the P500 off, and it took pretty close to a month and a half to get to me. It seemed this one, the shipping process was longer than normal. I think maybe they just had a big volume of pre-orders or some other games that were going out as well in this P500 batch. But it finally came. Looks lovely, just like all the other Men of Iron series. I think it's 9/16" counters. Yeah, 9/16" counters, which I, of course, appreciate. And beautiful componentry and nice mix of battles. 7 battles included. Legnano looks like the best one to get into. Half a map sheet. Pretty straightforward deployment. So got that to look forward to as well. So y'all have a good day. I'll see you later. Bye.